Hello time travelers! In this video I'm going to be testing some stuff in SDXL in Automatic1111. On one of my posts that I put on Facebook, someone was commenting on my Katie Sackhoff pictures. And this is a LoRA that I trained in a previous video. He was glad because he wanted to know how to train LoRAs. But then he asked me if it was 1.5 or SDXL. And I said, 1.5, I'm not messing around with any buggy beta SDXL yet. And he says, it's not beta nor buggy. Thinking emoji? Well, guess what? I messed with it and it was beta. And it was buggy. Even though at the time of writing that comment, only 1.9 was out. In this video, I'm going to be showing you 1.9 that somebody made a plugin for Stable Diffusion for, and also SDXL, and how I got it working. This is my look of disapproval. This is one of the YouTubers I pick on for using an AI voice. It's not as bad as AI Entrepreneur, but I still watch his videos because I learn a bunch of stuff. So it's always like a roast, like you can improve your videos. And he's called lifeisboringsoprogramming. I'll put a link in the description to his YouTube channel if you haven't seen it yet. But he's the one that made a plugin for Stable Diffusion to test SDXL before the official version came out. I'm showing you the steps in case you want to install it. But you don't really need to install it if you don't want to. It is buggy, and I'll show you the couple things that were annoying about it, because maybe when he sees this video and if he makes a plugin in the future, he won't do this. But I still have to give him props for finding a way to let people use this before the official release came out. So in my extensions tab, you see that I have SD-webui-XL Demo-text to image. This is disabled because it was crazy buggy, like I said. But if you want to test it, you go to the link that I put in the description, what's it below, hit code, copy the thing, and go to install from URL, paste it in, and hit enter, or not enter, click install. It says extension already exists for me because it's already installed. And in this case, you're going to go back to installed, hit check for updates, wait for everything to finish, hit apply and restart UI, wait for it to refresh, then go back to your console and hit Control-C. The thing is, it doesn't load until you're actually starting Stable Diffusion. And I'm going to show you in a second how to do that. Apply and restart UI. It does reloading thing. And then I'm actually just going to close those tabs. And then look at this. It just downloaded a bunch of stuff still, and then launched itself again, but I don't trust it. Hit Control-C to break it, terminate batch job, yes or no, hit Y for yes, and hit enter. And in my case, I'm going to put webui-user.bat. But hold on, to make your life easier, if you already have webui-user.bat, make a copy of it, and you need to rename it webui-SDXL, or rename it whatever you want, I don't care. But SDXL is what I recommend naming everything moving forward so that you know what it is. You right click it and hit edit, right click and then click edit on batch files. Should open it in Notepad. That's the steps in Windows 10. Here's a screenshot for Windows 11. You have to click show more options first before it lets you see the edit option. So dumb. By the way, I'm future me and I didn't feel like using my webcam. I'm trying to save time on editing because I've spent a ton of hours making this video. I did find out I was doing some stuff wrong, but I'm letting you see me struggle. So you can watch past me suffer, and I'll jump in from time to time to tell you the right way to do things. And you want after set command line args? --xformers. Whatever the heck those are. Actually, xformers is a thing for the memory. And then --no-half, and then --no-half-ve. Actually, don't use no half and no half ve, just use these two. So what they do is, no half, in the wiki it says do not switch the model to 16-bit floats. And no half ve means do not switch the ve model to 16-bit floats. So both what these do is force it to not let Stable Diffusion choose when it renders. And they cause problems with SDXL. Xformers is a memory optimization thing. We needed to reduce how long it takes to generate images and reduce the memory use a little bit. MED-VRAM, that's medium VRAM, it reduces how much VRAM generations take. Just for a little bit of context so you see that it's doing something. Here's a test I did with SDXL and generating with MED-VRAM. And then here's with MED-VRAM and Xformers together. So clearly it did something different. It's doing something different different to how the stuff is being processed by the GPU. And I noted how much VRAM was being used by my system. With just MED VRAM, it used 9.3 gigabytes of my VRAM, and it took about a minute and a half. And when I use MED VRAM along with Xformers, it took a little bit less memory, you see, 8.7, and it took 40 seconds to generate. Even on my 3090, in order to get images to generate, I had to use MED VRAM. But on my 3080 Ti on my other computer, I had to use low VRAM just to get it to generate. So I recommend using that if you have an 8 gigabyte VRAM card and see if you can get stuff to work. And this is something that I thought was only a problem with Life is Boring So Programming's little hack mod thing, which is this takes much longer to load. But then when I did the update for my Stable Diffusion to support SDXL, it was taking much longer to load as well, but it was showing different stuff in here. See, it has to install these requirements, then a bunch of stuff that doesn't work for some reason. Told you it was buggy. So the first time you run it, it doesn't have to download a bunch of stuff, but the next time it does, I'll show you why. I'm reopening the browser and going to Stable Diffusion. Now you may or may not have this tab yet, but you're gonna go to Settings. So after you did the initial installation and then completely reloaded it, go to this tab that says SDXL Demo. And you're gonna see this. So I've already logged into my Hugging Face account so I can do the next step. So I have to accept a couple of agreements, like that. I've already accepted mine. But if you scroll all the way down, there'll be an accept button at the end. And do the same for the SDXL 1.0 agreement and create a new token. You click this and it sends you to your tokens page. And I already made one, but all you have to do is hit new token and give it a name, SDXL Demo, what's it, or whatever. Only give it read access because you don't want somebody to hack your stuff. Generate a token. And then you get this. You don't have to show it with the show button. You just hit the copy button. I've already copied mine from here. You go to the settings tab in Stable Diffusion and find SDXL Demo down on the left. And you put your access token right there. So this is me pasting it in. And then I recommend you choose SDXL 1.0 if you have an RTX card that's like the RTX series came out with the 2000 series. So if you got 2000, 3000, or 4000 card. If you don't, if you have an older card, use the FP16 option. If you feel like playing around with 0.9, those are your two options there. But you hit that one there. You change this to CUDA because that's what Nvidia cards have. Make sure Enable Refiner is checked, otherwise you'll have to reload it again. You hit Apply Settings, and you see all this garbage happened. Go back to your console and hit Control-C. It takes a little bit because it's not doing it right away, but I'm pressing Control-C and it's not breaking it. There it goes. You hit Yes to terminate batch job and press Enter, and then do your webui-user or webui-SDXL, whatever you made, and hit Enter. Now you can see the arguments I used in my match file are Xformers and low VRAM, because this is the machine with the 3080 Ti and only has 12 gigs of VRAM. Then it does this stuff where it downloads the models. But don't sit around waiting for this. Go live your life and come back later. And it downloads the models into things called blobs. There's the downloading, where it downloads models. And I looked all over inside of the Stable Diffusion folders and I couldn't figure out where the models were downloading. And I found a Reddit thread where the creator of this mod actually said where they go. They go in your user's profile folder. And look, he's got, what? He's got 1.5 from Runway ML, which is cool. I use that for training LoRa's. Stable Diffusion Base, Stable Diffusion Refiner. And you open it up and you get this folder called Blobs. Hey! And then all the models are in these weird blob files. This is my look of disapproval. This is what... Life is boring, so programming. Please don't do that. If possible, in your plugins, make it so that we can add other things to it. But at least you gave us a way to play around with it for a couple weeks before the official one came out. So this loading models doesn't happen every time, only if you're trying to switch models in that one menu and then reload it. But there are other things that it has to load every time you launch it. While I'm waiting for this, I decided to show you how to update yours to handle the regular SDXL. I recommend to keep your SD 1.5 separate from your SDXL, at least for a few weeks. I'll show you how to do that. First, you go to your main Stable Diffusion WebUI folder you have, and make sure like you don't have any command line windows open to that path and that you're not running it. And then hit F2 to rename it, and go to the end and put dash regular, or you can put SD 1.5, it doesn't matter. because you're about to clone the repo and you don't want to mess around with that one. I'm going to do an internet search, Stable Diffusion Automatic1111. I'm going to go here. I'll put the link in the description so you guys can just copy paste it. But hit code. That, I don't like going up here and hitting CMD because then I can't copy paste this path later. Instead, I have this installed, open command window here. But if you don't have that, you can hit Windows button R on your keyboard, which brings up the run box, put in CMD, and I'm going to type it this time. I'm just going to read this and type it. CD/D, double quote, D, colon, backslash, AI underscore stuff, backslash stable diffusion, enter. And then I'm going to type git clone space, and then the URL that I want to clone. This doesn't actually install it. All it is doing is downloading a folder. But it's going to download a folder called Stable Diffusion webui, and I don't want it to overwrite or see that I already have it downloaded. So now I've got two computers downloading junk from the internets. So the download had failed, invalid index pack, whatever, and I realized it was this that's taking like an hour and a half to go, using up all my internet bandwidth. But anyways, did go ahead and try it again. Since this is done downloading, I'm going to show you what to do next. I'm going to rename the one I just downloaded. And do this before you try to run anything in it. And put dash SDXL and go back to the one you've been running because you literally just broke it in certain ways. You can still run it, but you won't be able to update it. And take off what you put on the end. Just like that. Alright, this is future me making this video shorter because I recorded myself moving all my SDXL models, LoRa's, and embeddings, and all the other stuff after installing my Stable Diffusion SDXL version. But instead, I'm just going to show you where they go to save time. In embeddings, I made an SDXL folder and put them in there, you know, the ones just for SDXL. And then in your models folder, you've got LoRa, Lycoris, VEI, and Stable Diffusion folders you have to take care of. So LoRa, there's an SDXL folder, and some LoRa's that I've trained. Gotta subscribe to see the future video on that. And I got so many because I'm doing tests. And then back in this folder, you've got Lycoris, if you have that plugin installed or if you're planning on using it. And I did find a couple, and I put them in there. You got your VEI. I don't have any VEIs yet. And then Stable Diffusion, and then SDXL. And those are your SDXL models, they all go in there. But even though in this example you would only be running SDXL in this particular instance of Stable Diffusion, I recommend that you also organize the stuff under a folder named SDXL so that when you have the GUI web page thing open and you're selecting things, you see SDXL, it reminds you, oh, this is my SDXL one. And FYI, to save yourself time, you want to already have at least one model downloaded into Stable Diffusion. And obviously, I've got a few downloaded, so let's just run it. webui-sdxl.bat and hit enter. And this is what actually installs Stable Diffusion to whatever folder you ran it in. Because you see here, I ran it in that folder that I renamed ahead of time. This is why you want to run it after you clone the repo and then rename the folder. So my web UI with the SDXL demo showed up, and I'm going to show you something that I thought was clever about it. First, I'm going to go to Prompt Hero. A lot of times I go to civitai, but I'm starting to use this a little bit to see if I like it, because I heard that SDXL is probably, or maybe, gonna beat out Midjourney. So let's click Midjourney and steal some prompt from there. Let's grab this one right here. I'm just gonna copy this with the copy button, put it over here, take this aspect ratio / whatever this other argument is that I don't have no idea what it is, then go up here and click that and type SDXL. Wrong! You can't choose the model with SDXL Demo, only with SDXL 1.0. And I recommend you install those as separate instances of Stable Diffusion webui like I showed you, otherwise this thing will crawl to a halt. That's even if you do dink around with the demo, just stay away from this one. And this, I thought, was going to refine the image just like the old highres.fix did for regular text to image. But watch what happens. By the way, instead of 512 by 512 as the default for SDXL is 1024 by 1024. And I'm just leaving on the default Euler sampling method that it has called Euler discrete. I haven't tested any of these other ones because I'm already running 35 seconds trying to generate this thing. Cause your command line args are wrong, you noob! I'm not sure if it's using this 2.1 model up here Or what? Because I can't find any SDXL things in here. And I should know that SDXL Demo ignores this drop-down. It uses the settings tab to choose your model down here, because I saw this on an AI entrepreneur and an Olivia Sorikas video, and they said this. But maybe the scathing AI voice that AI entrepreneur and the copy and parameters that Olivio says all the times messed up my brain. So we'll take a look at this image, open it in a new tab. It's all right. Let's hit refine and see what it does. Please set the image for refiner. Oh, this is dumb. You have to... This is so dumb. There's no button. You have to hit this, and normally this would open up a folder, and it's not going real fast. There it is. Okay. Go down and find it. Ignore my LoRA testing I was doing earlier to see if the model was overtrained with the pink hair and the blue bikini, which didn't quite work out. Anyways, bring this image over here. Why can't there be a button to just send it over there? I heard from someone to try 30 and 0.3 here. I'm actually just going to leave it. And I clicked refine, and let's see what happens now. So this is the before, and that's the after. Before, after. So looks like, what's the point of this refiner checkbox? All it does is hide or unhide that button. That's it. It doesn't make sense to me.
But dude, it doesn't make any sense.
Meanwhile, while this is still installing on my other computer, I'm going to show you guys where to get some SDXL models. So this part of the video is showing you where to get some models for the SDXL regular version. But check out this Amber Mid Thunder LoRa that I made. That's, I want to show you how to make LoRa's for SDXL in a future video. But just to avoid confusion, the models that I'm about to show you how to download will not work in the demo version. This first page is a Hugging Face page, and you've got SDXL base 1.0 and 1.0 underscore 0.9 VE. So this has got a different VE built in. And here's a LoRa, which is an offset thing that increases your quality of the image, and you can use weights on it. Obviously, I put this link in the description below if you want to go there yourself. And I'm also going to the place where the refiners are. And these two refiners also go in the same folder for your models. So again, that's your Stable Diffusion webui SDXL folder, and then models, and then Stable Diffusion, and then SDXL. So on your screen, you see that I've downloaded a bunch of models for SDXL, and I'll tell you where I got them. I found them on civitai. There's this one, the XL3 Experimental. There's Futuristic XL. This one's actually a LoRa, so that goes in a different folder. It's Counterfeit XL, Dream Shaper XL, Futuristic, oh, I already did that one, IPS, and SDXL. And there's more. All I did was go into civitai and type SDXL in here and press enter. And then I scrolled down and chose which ones I wanted to try. Oh look, there's a workflow for Comfy UI. Huh. Interesting. All this blobbity blah, and I'm still waiting for it to finish installing. It takes so much longer to install the SDXL version of Automatic1111. And the only thing I changed was having SDXL folders. It's just a newer version. It's got more going on. Alright, I just found out today there's a couple of plugins that we can install for SDXL. This is my SDXL one. As you can see, I have all my SDXL things in the SDXL folder. I'm actually running an SDXL on my main computer because I'm still waiting for the other one to install. And I accidentally clicked that, and now it's gonna make me wait just for that! Oh my gosh! This is my look of I'm exhausted at this point. I want to go to extensions, and then install from URL, and then wait for this freaking thing! If you try to do anything else to Stable Diffusion while it's doing that, it crashes it sometimes. So here's a refiner. I'm just going to paste it in. Install. It says it installed right here. And then something called the Ultimate Upscale plugin. I'm going to paste that URL in here as well. Obviously, both of these will be linked in the descriptables below. So let's see if installed, check for updates, and apply and restart UI works. This is taking longer than normal. And now it's saying launching webui. Oh my gosh. This is definitely one of those things when you want to launch it, you go do something else while you wait. So I just clicked on SDXL base 1.0. This is a version of it that's on civitai. I'll also have this linked in the script, Dougal, what's it in the thingy downs belows. Let's try this one. Prompt idea, save it. Copy paste this folder path. This is where I keep the stuff before I do tests. Save, do PNG info. Click this, Paste. Wait for this to load so I don't crash the UI by hitting send to text image right now. Are you done over here? So that I can do 2 at once to save time? This is running on local URLs. Let's try it. This is my other computer, if you can't tell. All right, Anime Art Diffusion that I downloaded ahead of time. Anime Art Diffusion XL, there it is. Spinny roundy times, spinny roundy times. I already have this image downloaded, so let's try it. Send to text to image, and it didn't work. So you're gonna get that a lot. So, boring. I figured out later that this image was made with Comfy UI, not Automatic1111, and its PNG info is not compatible. I did these copy prompt buttons, which I guess works. I need to get the seed, which is like 3 brillion. 3 brillion and whatever that number says. Oh, why I couldn't import the images is because it's using 29 nodes in Comfy UI. CFG 10, steps 30. Fine, I'll change these numbers myself. UniPC, and hit Control Enter. And sampler UniPC is not supported for SDXL. Alright, fine. Put it on Euler, which is the one for anime. Hit generate. Coming back to my other computer, it didn't pick the right. SDXL base 1.0, and then press tab on the keyboard so that it actually keeps the one you chose. And come back in 5 to 6 years when it's done. Oh look, it still has the error from before. It doesn't have any new errors. It's just sitting at 0% and not generating my freaking image. Oh, all I had to do was yell at it, I guess. And I got out of memory error trying to load that. Out of memory error, so that means on a 3090? No, it's because I have the wrong freaking arguments! These are the right ones. I have to use that, or is it because I've got my other video I filmed earlier tonight open in my editor, and it's using some of my VRAM? Let's look at my VRAM monitoring tool. Oh my goodness. That's how much of my VRAM is used up right now. Then I closed my video editing software and it didn't help. And I wasted a few minutes poking around in the task manager trying to figure out what was using up my VRAM. But then I ran it again, and here's the results of the pink anime girl, and it looks completely wrong. Then I figured out that it had a LoRA in it, and I downloaded it from here. And even though I went to my extended networks button and then hit refresh, it just rendered this again. So frustrating! I don't know if it's a problem with the LoRA or with Automatic1111 barfing on itself and being a glitch pile because of frickin' SDXL just barely coming out 2 weeks ago. But I tried it again a few days later, and I got this image, which is actually correct.
I don't know what that was.
And here's the prompt for the blue anime girl I was trying to generate. And I used Animate Art Diffusion XL. Now here's the original image that I downloaded from civitai. This is the best I could get it to make, and it might be because they're using this embedding right here, and I can't fully get embeddings to work. And that could be a problem with the embedding, or it could be a problem with Automatic1111. We don't know yet. So, OBS crashed. That's because I ran it on the same system as recording freaking stable diffusion, and I used to be able to do that because I have an RTX 3090. I guess I can't anymore if I'm doing the SDXL. Here's something I noticed when I try to do this dragon. Let's see if I can show you what it spit out. And by the way, the model, it's called Dream Shaper XL 1.0. Where'd the freaking dragon go? And the model where I found the dragon, I've lost it. I'm sorry. But in the image, it said comfy in the corner instead of text to image. Here you go. I found the prompt for the dragon image later on. And this is the output it gave me. Not fantastic, right? Like, what the heck is going on right now? But I think the problem I had when I was originally trying to generate it is that it was made in the resolution of 1536 by 2048. Later, when I set up my command line arguments for SDXL correctly, it was taking about 15 minutes per image, and that's because of this. I think the person that made this had their Comfy UI workflow set up using an external upscaler. But before I corrected the command line arguments, I was sitting here forever, waiting for an eternity for my RTX 3090 to poop out one image. But here's some info about Comfy UI. And I'll show you what that is. Here's an image of somebody's workflow in Comfy UI, and you have to set it all up manually with all these little connections of wire looking things. And that just reminds me of the signal path that I had to figure out to get my pedal chain to work to do stereo the way I like to do it when I'm playing my guitar. And if I tried to learn this right now, it would make my brain overflow and spill out through my freaking ears. But I am willing to learn it for you guys. I'm currently at 1,000 and lucky 7 subscribers. If I make it to 5,000 and a bunch of people beg me in the comments, please show us how to use Comfy UI, then I'll spend like a month to figure it out, or however long it takes, and make a video. But sometime after OBS crashed, I did a few generations between my two computers, and SDXL kept crashing on each computer, and I kept going back and forth waiting for one to render, and then going back to the other one and finding it's rendered, crashed, started over, go back to the other one. Oh, I have an image to show you now, blah blah. Well, I'm gonna show you something. The one plugin that I installed for the refiner down here, if I didn't show it earlier in the video, here's the before and then there's the after. So the refiner really rounded out that shoulder to make it look natural, and it made the eye line more correct to the face. And here's a couple Billie Eilish images that I did with the LoRA that I trained myself, but my first image got all cropped funny. And this is just me adding a LoRA to a prompt that I found on civitai. And then go to the next frame where I changed the aspect ratio so it wouldn't crop her face as much, and it came out really good. But then the other plugin I installed was in the image to image tab, and look what it did. Instead of doing the high res, it did weird thing with the tiling. So how you do it is you set your sampler up and your sampling steps to the same as you had before, and your width and your height to the same, and your seed and everything. And maybe it's denoising strength. Let's try turning that down, see if it does anything. But down here under script, you have to change it to ultimate SD upscale, and that's for the one that we installed earlier. And I was trying Erzgran 4X. Let's just hit Control Enter, see if it works. All right, here's an image I just got from civitai. Before I downloaded it, I made sure it says right here text to image instead of comfy. Going over here, I see they're using a LoRA here, so I'm gonna go ahead and replace that with, I don't know if I said this earlier, if it got cut off. The embeddings tab doesn't work anymore once you have anything SDXL related anywhere in your stable diffusion folder. I'm fine. Everything is fine.
SDXL is buggy!
Let's see how well it does just putting Amber Mid Thunder right there. And this isn't the same model. It is called XL3. So you type it in, and then once it's selected, you press enter, and then tab out of it by pressing tab a couple of times. Otherwise, if I leave the freaking browser and then come back, it'll think the cursor's still in there and randomly select one of my other models, and I have to wait another freaking 10 minutes. It's fine.
Buggy! Glitch-tastic!
This time it tried to upscale it, and it kind of got funky. Let's use SwinIR 4X. I see that a lot in people's prompts sometimes. And it's still messing up her face a little bit. I just read the wiki, and they said the range of your denoiser is 0.3 to 0.5. Let's turn that down to 0.3. Try it again. Look at this ETA on this image. It says 1 minute and 58 seconds have passed out of 1 hour and 7 minutes. There's no way generating a single image should take an hour. There comes the ETA on there. It says 2 hours. Batch count 1. Well, my other computer, Stable Diffusion, locked up again, and I relaunched it, and it says to create a public link, hit share true equals launch. It says running on local URL, so it's running, but I can't do anything in it because guess what? Creating model from config, SDXL base.yaml. It's supposed to be one of the benefits of SDXL that you don't have to download the YAML files that some models need. It automatically makes them for you by adding 10 minutes to your life that you can't get back every time you launch Stable Diffusion. Okay, I got a little bit better upscale. It's all funky looking and weird, but how I did it was by changing it off of resize to resize by. Had it upscale 2 times. I'm gonna put this back to 0.35. Let's try 0.5 again because that's the highest that the GitHub README says. And then after that, if it still doesn't work, I'm leaving it alone and moving on with my life. I'm fine.
Glitch-tastic! Glitch pile of glitches!
Look at this, for upscaling one image, it said 27 minutes there, and then it creeped down to 5 minutes. within a few seconds. Now it's staying around 5 minutes. So like if you want to upscale one image, it's 5 freaking minutes. And now it says 6 freaking minutes. Before I finish up this video, I want to try this Gal Gadot SDXL LoRA that I found. I'm just going to steal the prompt. I have the Gal Gadot LoRA from this civitai page downloaded. So this prompt should already work. Let's hit generate. Then I'm going to compare it with my Gal Gadot LoRA that I trained here. So there's theirs. Open that in a new tab. Put mine in and take theirs out. Alright, mine's done. It looks like this. So let's click the zoom into theirs. Looks like that. And mine looks a little better, maybe just a little different. Let's try running the refiner. So I've changed the script to XYZ plot and then prompt SR into the X type. Paste these two things in so it'll do 0.7 for mine after doing 0.7 for theirs. Refiner is turned on. Hit Control Enter to generate. Alright, let's see how the refiner did. And I'm not impressed. So at this point, I still think SDXL is too difficult. Actually, now that I've tried a slightly newer version and I'm using the correct command line arguments, and the time it takes to generate an image has improved since a recent update of Automatic1111, I still think it's too early to tell. It would be great once they get better optimizers working for it, I think. And I look forward to future updates of Automatic1111. And this is me playing around with the LoRA that I made for Amber Myth Thunder. If you've seen my recent videos, you'll see that I was studying how to not use the person's full name in the instance prompt, but this is one that I actually generated before people told me that in the comments, and I made the response video. Here's a card to that video right here, but you definitely want to be subscribed so you can learn how to train LoRa's for SDXL. I did create a couple LoRa's that look pretty good. This is Billie Eilish right there. And make sure you're subscribed so you see all the future Stable Diffusion videos I make. Otherwise, if you haven't seen the video where I show you a bunch of tricks about how to use a Stable Diffusion, which these don't crash or whatever, and they all work great, SD 1.5 looks beautiful if you do these tricks, click this card over here to see that video. And then click down here to subscribe to the channel, and then this thingy, what's it, is whatever YouTube thinks is best. Alright, thanks. Bye.